we go.
Another episode of The Safe Space. Welcome all you listeners and viewers out there. What was the last one? Last one we did was vault doors.
I think so.
Yeah, vault doors. And today I believe we are going to be talking about some fire protection, fire ratings, fire stuff.
Yeah, I can peek in there and see the first note, and yeah.
Which is, I guess it's relevant to, this time of year with, a lot of wildfires happening. Not as many this year in Washington and California. I saw something, but yeah, obviously fire protection is a huge part of what we do, and it's a topic of concern, and it's a subject that is, I think, misunderstood.
That's what I was going to say. Like most things in the safe industry, fire protection is really misunderstood.
Okay, well, with that being said, let's just jump right into it. This is a funny one to start off with. So what makes a safe fireproof?
Yep. So, of course, safes are not fireproof. They're fire resistant. The reason you see so many manufacturers use the word fireproof in the terms, it's what people are searching for.
It's to trick people.
It's not even to trick people. I mean, we optimize things for what people are searching for.
Yeah, I suppose.
So if everybody's searching for a fireproof safe, our article is going to have to start
Address
with
that.
address
Yeah.
it, and then explain, well, there's no such thing as a fireproof safe. It's fire resistant.
That's correct.
So what makes a fireproof safe, or what makes a
Fire
resistant is
safe.
the materials that they're made out of are resistant. Steel, of course. Your most basic safe is going to be a steel shell, and by its nature, steel is going to be resistant to heat and fire. But once it heats up enough, it's just going to become a heat sink and transfer that heat to the inside of the safe. So when you start insulating it with materials like sheetrock or a concrete base, that's going to reflect heat even more. Like with a sheetrock filled safe, which is typical of most safes in the industry, it has a moisture content in that insulation. So once it gets hot enough, it's going to expel that moisture, and basically steam is cooling the inside of your safe.
Yep. So yeah, materials being used, construction of the safe, like the quality of the welds. One analogy that I love is like, when you throw a beer can in the pot or in the fire, and what does it do, right? It crinkles up, and you can look at a safe in a similar fashion,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it's a lightweight 14 gauge, safe,
Spot welded.
Spot welded, it's not going to react well to extreme heat. So yeah, as you get that thicker gauge, the thicker materials, tolerance is important too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Door fit, that plays into the fire resistance of a safe. But yeah, ultimately the quality of the materials, the thickness of materials, how many layers of insulation, welding techniques. Yeah, there's so much that goes into it. Most people, unfortunately, they just look at the sticker on the safe, right? They just look at what the manufacturer has stated.
The specs sheet.
Yeah, the safe is rated at this duration for this temperature, so it must be fireproof, right? And we just know that with our experience of seeing dozens and dozens of safes go through fires over the last 40 years, that some of those stickers are truthful or more truthful than others. And I'm sure we'll probably get more into that. But yeah, I guess in a nutshell, there is no such thing as a fireproof safe. There are fire resistant safes, and some are better than others.
Yeah, and kind of jumping back to the pop can analogy, I think we got that from
beer can. I'm more of a beer can guy. I don't throw pop cans in the fire.
Well, Phil from Fort Knox.
Yeah,
that's
was his.
Yeah, he's throwing pop.
Yeah, he's throwing pop. Yeah, most of our safe manufacturers are throwing pop. But
Fort Knox is a great example of something
quality materials.
Well, you can find two safes that are spec the same, but the Fort Knox is going to have a lot of hidden strengths that are going to make it perform better in a fire, which is they're 100% welded on the outside and inside.
Yep.
So as that metal heats up and expands, it's not going to break apart at the seams, which we've seen in fire testing of spot welded import safes or cheaply welded safes. The safe might have a thick body and might have plenty of insulation in it, but when that metal heats up and expands, if it's not welded correctly and it just opens up, all that doesn't matter. So again, Fort Knox is one of those companies or safes you look at and think, oh, I could get the same spec for less, but You're not going to get it 100% welded on the outside and inside. You're going to be missing all the plate steel in the door and all the reinforcements that make that safe hold together in a fire and not just crinkle up like a pop can.
Yeah, and not only that, the type of sheetrock they use, it's a higher quality sheetrock, and how they install it, they're not gluing it together, right? They're actually pushing it onto stud welds that are connected to the safe.
Yeah.
Fort Knox does multiple things that set themselves apart. And yeah, you try to eliminate those weak spots, whether that's in an internally hinged safe with that hinge pocket. We've seen heat pour into those, or maybe you open up a door of a safe and you see that sheetrock's only covering a part of it. Right.
Yeah.
We see that a lot with safes. Is just a part of the front of the door is covered with material, and there's a bunch of weak spots where, and heat will undoubtedly find that.
Yeah. People always point out they think an exterior hinge is maybe a threat to security, and it's not. Your highest rated safes in the world are all going to have exterior hinges. And the other benefit they give you is the manufacturer doesn't have to cut out all the fire insulation for that hinge to collapse into.
Yeah.
And create that hot spot that you were talking about.
Yeah, that's one of the most, we talk about all the different blanketed statements that people come in here and say, and I don't want an external hinge. Say you just cut those hinges right off that National Magnum. Well, there's locking bolts on all four sides. You can't get the door off. So yeah, we need to do a whole podcast on more of the myths of the safe industry.
Definitely touched on it before, but yeah, simply put, an exterior hinge is giving you more benefits with fire than any sort of security that's compromising.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Let's jump into the next one. We can just talk about this all day.
What safes have you personally seen go through fires, and how did they hold up?
Yeah. So, I've been here at Northwest Safe for 15 years. I haven't seen as many safes go through fires as you or your dad, but I have seen a handful. We have one here in our showroom. It is an entry-level Liberty. It's at the time, I believe it was a Colonial, a 45-minute rated safe.
Yeah.
So it would have been a 12 or 11 gauge body with 45 minutes of insulation. It was inside of a garage. It was 3 miles away from the fire department. All of the things that people think are going to protect their safe from fire, right? Oh, the garage, it's not going to have as much stuff around it to get hot or burn, when in fact there's usually more flammable stuff in the garage. Oh, I'm right down the road from the fire department. Well, not that the fire department responds slowly, but when did the fire start? How did it start? When did somebody notice? Did it get called in within 10 minutes, or was it a half an hour later? Or are they on another call? That's another one that we've seen, in rural areas. Or where's the fire hydrant? So at any rate, this safe reacted much like a beer can in a fire, and the door warped on it, the body warped on it. Heat came through the hinge pockets like we talked about. And again, this is an entry level. This was more of an entry level safe. His stuff, though, it went through a 1 hour fire with temperatures, I believe, exceeding 1,200 degrees, which is safe's tested at. So it was in a fire that was longer and hotter than what the rating was for it. His guns were salvageable. In fact, when people see the safe and see the picture of the guns, they did have severe smoke and soot damage. They had to be refinished, but they were salvageable. The stuff at the top of the safe did not respond well. Obviously, heat rises. That hinge pocket allowed a bunch of heat to come in. So we use this safe as an example of why to buy a better safe that we just talked about, something with more steel, something that's got more insulation and tighter door gaps. We have sold thousands of safes, better safes, showing people that. So Liberty Colonial, 45-minute rated, I've seen go through a fire. I've also seen some Champion or Superior Masters go through fires. And, the Master is a 10-gauge body, a little bit thicker. It's got a plate door on it. It's externally hinged. I've seen those go through some fires, and I've seen them respond pretty well, just based off of my experience. I've also seen high-end safes go through fires that didn't respond well. I know American Security, the BFX is famous for how it responded in the serious fires in California, the campfires. They are filled with, the dry light insulation, a concrete base insulation, multiple layers of steel. We kind of tell people the good ones do good and the bad ones usually do bad. So yeah, I've seen a couple go through. I don't know what sticks out to you as far as you probably have seen. Well, you have seen more safes go through fires. Maybe you've seen a graph funder go through a fire, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, the one that's famous is that graph funder that went through a shop fire, and the photo you see just a pile of
Rubble,
char and rubble and ash, and just this one safe in the middle, and it looked perfect on the inside, and that's because hand fit door, really rigid, so it doesn't, when it heats up, a lot of people tie that door fit of graph funder to security, but it's so tight that I don't even think you need, even though it has a fire seal, has 2 of them, I don't think you need it, because I think the steel itself, when it expands, that gap is so tight, it's just completely sealed off from the elements, and you're not going to get that heat exposure. You're not going to get that soot seeping past the fire seal and going through. And even that, that Liberty, that Colonial that we use an example, you can buy a Liberty that will do better than that.
Absolutely.
It's just, what we always push is when you're buying a safe and fire protection, the contents need to justify the purchase price of the safe. Now, at the time that safe was purchased, I mean, that Colonial, this was a while ago, so it was less than $2,000.
Yeah, I was going to say $1,500.
Yeah, and the customer is probably protecting $20,000+ in valuables.
Easy. Easy.
And it kept the guns from being destroyed.
It did.
Now, the guns had to be refinished. That was a headache for the customer, and but yeah, you can get something that has more fire insulation, more reinforcement. It's not that the Liberty did a bad job for what it was.
It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, it did a good job.
It did what it was supposed to do. Absolutely. But yeah, I'm trying to think of any other ones that jump out at you that you can remember over the years that have gone through fires that were like, oh wow, that did really good, or oh wow, that.
Well, I mean, like you were saying, it's the good ones do good, and actually, no, there's been some surprising ones in the past.
Yeah, one that jumps out to me was it was a Liberty Premium 20, which actually has a 75-minute rating. Again, just an 1/8-inch body, but it was in a complete loss, log home, burned down. The fire department couldn't do anything about it. It was back in the woods, like. This home burnt to the ground, and there's a 75-minute rated safe in there. Well, the contents inside the safe, for the most part, were gone, right? Because it was, temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees for over, an hour and a half, 2 hours. But we always talk about other ways to achieve fire protection, and we talk about layers, right? And Liberty has that cool pocket on the door of the Premium, and this gentleman had tens of thousands of dollars, right, of cash in there. And it came out and it was just fine, which that was incredible to see. A little $25 pocket you can buy protected tens of thousands of dollars in value.
Inside of a safe.
Inside
at the very bottom.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Yeah. And good on them for putting it there.
Yeah. And I wouldn't recommend storing that much cash inside.
Not that safe.
Yeah.
No, certainly not. But, at least
a lot of people do it.
At least he had a little bit of money left, but yeah, that was a sad deal. So those are a couple that jump out, but yeah, ultimately, buy something that's got a little bit more material in it. It's going to give you a better shot.
Yeah, and another thing is, whenever we see somebody go through a serious fire or break-in, right? Nobody ever buys the same safe.
Yeah.
After they see the limitations of fire protection, they always go up. They always buy more security, more fire protection.
Yeah, and that's a question that I pose to customers often when I think that they might be making the wrong investment based on what they're protecting. If I was to tell you, hey, you are going to have a home fire tomorrow, no one ever thinks they're going to have a home fire until it happens, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to have a complete loss home fire tomorrow, what safe would you buy in here? Well, guess what? Everybody would buy the highest fire rated safe, right? If somebody said, someone's going to break into your home tomorrow and they're going to try to break into your safe, chances are you're going to invest in a higher security safe because you know that that's going to happen. So we live in this hypothetical, well, what if, or I live in this neighborhood, or, but ultimately we just want people to invest in the right safe for their needs. And I know that, everyone's going to hear us say that thousands of times over and over, but it's just such a simple equation.
It's your last line of defense.
Yeah.
People talk about having watchful neighbors or being close to the fire department, but
security
in
systems.
the end, the only thing your last line of defense, the thing that's going to be there no matter what, is the safe you chose to buy.
Amen. Okay, on to the next one here. How come two safes can have a 30-minute fire rating, but one is better than the other?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Yeah, there's no set standard in the safe industry. And I feel like this has gotten worse as time goes on. A lot of industries, as time goes by, they improve.
Yeah.
But I feel like third-party testing in the safe industry was more prevalent 30 years ago than it is today. Because basically today, especially with the influx of all the
imported
safes coming out of China, most safes you see are not fire tested. It's manufacturer will kind of, especially on the import side of it, go, well, we want to compete at this price point. This is what most safes are. We've seen other safes that have this steel thickness or this amount of insulation, and this is the rating they'll have.
Slap a sticker on it.
Don't go through any third-party testing.
Yeah.
And, at best, with most manufacturers, you're getting a somewhat legit factory test.
Yeah.
And then there's a few out there that are doing independent third-party test.
Yeah.
So you can have two safes. I mean, the one that sticks out in my mind is we've always compared on our showroom, we had that Canon rated at 60 minutes. We have a Liberty rated at 60 minutes, and we tore the insulation out of them. And the Canon was about half.
Yeah.
The other thing with the Canon is it was all spot welded together to a Liberty was fully welded. What that means is both of the safes were about 40 inches wide. On the back seam, where there was 40 inches of weld that could have been laid, the Canon had, I think, around 6.
Yeah.
To where the Liberty had a full 42 inches of its width.
Yeah.
Welded, and that's going to make a huge difference with the amount of insulation. But yeah, short answer is because most of the safes that you are seeing on the industry have never truly been fire testing, and it's a factory coming up with a rating that they feel will make their safe competitive.
Yeah. So, I mean, for people out there who are actually looking for a real rating, obviously a UL fire rating is a real test. Underwriters Laboratory. I mean, they can, and not to confuse that with a UL
everybody
RSC.
does.
Yeah. The security rating and the fire rating is completely different. And UL has one of the toughest, strictest fire tests out there. So if you do see that something has a UL listed fire rating, then it has been tested appropriately at much higher temperatures than most other gun safes as well.
Yeah. Higher temperatures, and it's got a drop test, it's got the explosion test,
there's a bunch that goes into it.
And unfortunately, you'll look at that UL
RSC.
Well, you'll look at the UL 1 hour fire rating, and people, and you won't realize that it outperforms the
2 hour
and 2.5 hour ratings you see from other factories.
Yeah. So UL's one. American Security uses Intertech, which
ETL.
Yeah, is a legit third-party testing, and then Champion uses the Mechanical Engineers Society, ASME. I think I'm saying that wrong, but at any rate, that's their third-party testing. So yeah, I would say, when you're looking at comparing two safes with the same fire rating and wanting to understand which one may be true, see if there's a third-party test on it, ask questions about the fire testing and at what temperatures and for how long. And, we've obviously gotten to see different tests, depending on where those heat gauges are in the safe too. That's a whole nother thing that we could get into about testing. So yeah, really it's deceiving.
Yeah. Another reason besides just makeup is let's say you have two safes that were tested. What's the ramp up time? That's another thing that manufacturers will drag out the ramp up time, meaning they won't get the testing temperature until
the end of the test.
The end of the test, essentially, to where with American Security, you're at testing temperature in 8 minutes.
Yeah. Same with Liberty. I believe Liberty gets
Yeah.
to temperature in 10.
Yeah, Liberty is a factory test. But with that being said, they have tested probably more safes than just about any other manufacturer over the years. But that's something I'd love to see
more
in the industry
manufacturers
is more independent testing and some head-to-head stuff.
and visibility. Like, here, let's show this. Let's show it.
American Security on their website, and we can link it, has a comparison they did with their test with ETL, where they compared, I think, 3 other safes. I mean, everything from a 60-minute safe to a 2-hour. And in that particular test, I want to say there was a 2-hour safe that didn't do as well as the 1-hour safe that the competitive safe. But none of them reached
what they said they were.
Yeah, when they were put through that independent test that American Security does, none of them came even close to performing their advertised fire rating.
Yeah. So give us a call if you have any questions about fire ratings on certain models or certain brands. We have a little bit of visibility.
Yeah. I'm looking for a safe with the best fire rating. What should I get?
A TL or TRTL rated safe is going to be built with much more material than even a 2.5 hour fire rated Magnum or Presidential, or even a BFX has some commercial design properties. But really, if you're, and not all TL rated safes are fire rated, mind you, so don't be confused. But like, an American Security CF or CFX are all going to be rated at 2 hours for 1,800 degrees. Really high temperatures. The reason why those are the best fire ratings is because, a lot of these have 3 or 4 inches of poured concrete in the walls and the door, right?
And a super dense concrete.
Yeah,
it's
really
not
high
the same
PSI.
thing that's on your floor, garage floor. It's
super high PSI, really tight door fits, like we're talking about, and the material thickness is such that it's not going to warp. It's going to stay rigid and structurally sound. So yeah, I mean, if someone said, I want the best fire rated safe you have, I would point them towards a TL, a TL 30x6 or a TL 30 built by American Security, or ISM's poured cast bodies of their TRTL safes. I mean, they are designed to stop torches, right? So just the material that's being used in that is going to give you the best fire rating. That being said, if you shifted gears and said, well, I want the best fire rated gun safe, what say you?
Well, I mean, technically it'd be the RFX.
Yeah.
But I would say the biggest decision for people would be, okay, I want the best fire protection, but I also want to put that into my home. So our answer would be different.
Yeah, depending on what size they need.
Yeah, if you can put a couple 1,000 pounds on your floor, then going with a TL rated safe is going to be your best fire protection. But if not, I mean, my favorite, I think, fire rated safe for the home is the BF Home Safe and the BFX.
Yeah, again, built by a company that
it's about as heavy as you can go.
Commercial design.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's you've done a lot of research on American Security's fire protection and how it works. And yeah, I mean, 1/2-inch plate doors, multiple layers of steel, multiple inches of poured insulation. I mean, yeah, it's tough for a residential home or gun safe. It's tough to beat the BF or the BFX.
Yeah.
Last one already. Okay, is there a way I can improve my safe's fire protection? It's a good question.
I mean, placement definitely plays a role where it's at in the home, but kind of what you touched on earlier is just
layers
of protection, whether it's a firebox. I mean, I think you could put certain contents inside a Tupperware and store it inside your safe, and you're getting a layer of protection.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that you do have such a high humidity environment when your fire protection is working. So, keep in mind higher you go, hotter it gets. Some more sensitive items you want to keep away from the door. You want to keep it low inside your safe, and you want to layer it with fire boxes inside of that. Which, I mean, most of them are a cheap little Fire King Sure Seal, which is a plastic box that's sealed and insulated, makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I think this was before my time, but I think you got to see the test with the dollar bill on a shelf and then a dollar bill just in a paper envelope, and the difference between how those dollar bills responded in a fire test. It was pretty incredible, right?
Yeah, from Liberty.
Yeah. So just another piece of paper, it's pretty wild. So yeah, put your super important documents, cash, family heirloom type stuff. Make sure you have that in another fire rated, insulated container inside the safe. We've got a bunch of different options for people to invest in on that. I've even heard your dad say, if you live in Eastern Washington and a wildfire's coming, if by chance you've got, some sheetrock laying around, like lean it up against your, as many sides of the safe as you can, because that's going to create an extra barrier between, your safe and that heat.
And we see people build a cinder block room around their safes.
Yeah, cinder block rooms. I know there's some fire blankets out there that people will throw over their safe. So, yeah, there's definitely there's definitely some things you can do to improve the rating on what the factory rating is or the third party rating is. Just layers of, just like security, layers of fire protection. Well, that's it. Yeah. Just like that. It was relatively, I don't know if it was a short one or not. There was only 4 or 5 questions.
Yeah, I think more so than other times. You're really going in depth with fire protection questions. So
yeah, we could talk all day about this, but again, when it comes down to brass tacks, right? The good ones usually do good and the bad ones do worse. But, yeah. Well, if you guys have any questions about fire protection or anything else safe related, don't hesitate to put a comment in or send us an email, and we will see you on the next episode of The Safe Space.
Thanks for watching.